Okay, so we're going to talk about how to make the air racers. All right, so what's going to happen is you're going to get one of these sheets of paper, and it's going to be broken up into 4 different sections. This is the main, this is the body that you'll be actually putting everything onto. Okay, and you'll have fin 1, fin 2, and then an air scoop. So first things first, you're going to put your name on there. Okay, so put your name somewhere on here. And then I'm going to probably have you color it. Okay, color everything. And once you get to that point, now it's going to start. You're going to start to cut out and fold certain areas. So this here is the same thing you just saw, but I've just highlighted some stuff for you with different colors. So fin 1, the air scoop, fin 2, the main, are all going to be cut out. Now the difference here is these two you're just going to make slits in. And when you cut out the fins back here, you're actually going to leave these little tabs at the bottom here. Okay, so I'm going to do that in front of you with the one that we just did here. So first things first, got some scissors here. So let's just cut. Okay, so what I did was I just cut that one line that was right there. Okay, so I just separated the body from the rest of it. All right, and now the back of the main, we're just going to slice here and slice here. Okay, we're just going to cut it up so that it kind of looks like a little flap. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fold along these lines. Okay, so I just kind of bend it over and I fold right along with that flap. And what this does is, so I folded right along those dotted lines. You can see that dotted lines are folded. And then this dotted line here, we're just going to fold this down underneath. Okay, pretty simple. All right, that's what it's going to look like. The body's going to look like. That's fairly straightforward. Okay, that's the body portion of it. Now let's talk about the fins and the air scoop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the fins, just like you see here. Leaving a little piece at the bottom there. Okay, and cutting right along those lines, nice and even. Make sure we throw out our scraps. I'm going to do the other fin. Okay. One thing I like to tell my students to do at this point is kind of take these, because these should be perfectly even, and just line them up next to each other like this. And then if there's any extras, right, just cut it off. Like, I don't know if you could see this, but there's a little bit extra from the other one. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting off. Okay, just so they're even. Okay, they want to make these as even as possible. So when it goes down the classroom or the hallway or wherever we're going to launch these, they'll have the same drag coefficient. Okay, that's 2. Okay, and then the air scoop. I'm going to cut off this little tab here at the bottom. Okay, so now we've got the 2 fins, the air scoop, the main body. Okay, we got the 4 parts all cut out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold along these lines. You can see that this is straight here, but it kind of forms kind of like a little triangle. Okay. So it's a very like elongated triangle, comes all the way down to a point here, and then it makes, your 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's kind of how you want to do this. And this is cardstock, so it should fold relatively easily. All right. So you can start with the fins, or you can start with the air scoop. I'm just going to start with the air scoop in this case. What we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to flip it upside down. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're just going to tape it right along the front and that line there. Okay. So the best way to do this is just kind of line these two up right here. Right, and then we just fold it down. Just going to fold this over. Okay. And then do the same thing on this portion right here. So just line these up. Makes a perfect 90-degree angle there. And you can do multiple pieces of tape if you can't do it all in one go. Okay. Okay, there. Okay. So the air scoop creates a scoop for air. Convenient name, right? All right. Now the back sides. So these will be colored. So fin 1 should go on the right-hand side here. And what I do is I typically just line these up just like that. And a little bit's going to stick out of the bottom, which is perfectly fine. We can always trim that off later. And then what we'll do is we'll take some tape. All right, and just move this down a little bit. Take some tape. We tape this fin there. I also like to tape it on the inside. And by doing that, what do I mean? Like I tape it down here and I bring it around. Okay. So basically it's taped. So that's not going to move there. And then fin 2. Same idea. Stick it underneath the flap. All right. Okay, tape that there. I could do the same thing here. Okay, so there's that. So we're getting there. Then what we do is we take this flap here that you see, this flap, and we're going to tape it right to the very back of this here. Okay, so what it does is it kind of creates like a little scoop that goes downward. So the scoop kind of does this. It kind of like does that. Okay, so the air will enter the front, gets pushed here, and then this will kind of force the air down, causing this to kind of like lift up and glide along the floor. And then we have the two fins in the back. You could staple these, but I recommend putting tape on it if you don't have a staple. Okay, a little bit of tape left over at the top there, if you could see that. And then what I like to do is go along and then just kind of trim anything that doesn't need to be there. Like if it's causing it to sit awkward, like this tape here. All right. Anything that's might be causing an issue. It's going to bulge out here a little bit if that's a problem, where it's bulging. You could always put some tape in here and tape this back down. If this is scraping along the ground for some reason, right? You could You could always just cut this off just a little bit. Obviously, you want to be careful because you just taped that, so you want to make sure that you retape it if that's the problem. But for the most part, that's what it should look like when you're just about finished. And then the very last step is when we come in. Either I'll do this for you, or I'll have you do it, depending on the class. Is I put a pin in, and this is how we launch it. Okay, so I go right above where the word main is written, and push this in there. Okay. And then what I do is I typically just put some tape over the top of it. Now I'm using just clear tape. You can use masking tape if you want to. Unfortunately, it's not nearly as pretty because you can't see through it like you can with the clear tape. But it does tend to be a little bit stronger. So if you're having problems with assembling it or it staying together, you can move to masking tape. That works really well. And then I just kind of lock this into place here. I bend this. All right, I'll bend this in place for you. And then sometimes what I'll even do is put like just a tab of hot glue down in here just to hold this, because this is where all the pressure is held when we load it up with the rubber band. All right, and that is how you assemble, cut out and assemble your air eraser. Have fun.